So the reason why we're here is I want to show you all of the cool tips that I've been building out recently, and I want to walk you through them, and we're going to have a Q&A, and I want to teach you each one individually from the ground up so you understand it all really deeply. And to do this, we're going to look at some of the stuff that we've been doing first. So let me check my list. And on my list, I have got, oh, friggin' hell, where did it go? It's here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. We're going to be looking at using type helpers. We're going to be looking at array unions and some things that have changed in TypeScript 5.2 in the beta that's coming out. We're going to be looking at extracting the type of array members at the empty object type. We're going to look at cases where you actually want to return never from functions, including this really cool sort of raise thing. And we're also going to be looking at loose autocomplete as const and using declarations, which are coming in TypeScript 5.2 or coming to JavaScript. Sweater vibes, cozy yet sophisticated. Thank you, man. This is a new sweater, actually. I've got the one in yellow, and I freaking love this one so much. I'm a cozy boy. Keyboard? It's just a nice keyboard. I don't know. How long have I been using TypeScript? Like 4 or 5 years, I guess. 4 or 5 years. Nice. Let's do it. All right. So here's my list. And to get through this list, we're going to start with, using type helpers. So the thing that I wrote down for this and the tip I gave is like you can, where are they? Here. Is, let's say you have this like object type here, right? And this object type is just, what this does is we want to basically extract out all of the keys in that object that are strings. And so we've got this sort of crazy bit of magic here. And you can see that inside this string keys thing here, it's all kind of like inlined there, right? So you've got K in key of obj, and like obj is mentioned a bunch of different times. And it's not really clear what this is doing. In fact, when I posted this, a bunch of people misunderstood this and thought, oh, I see, this must be about, he's extracting all of the keys in the object that are strings, like the non-numeric keys. So if, for instance, this one had like a 0 in it, we wouldn't want to include that. But instead what I want is I just want to grab ID, which is a string, and name, which is a string. And let me take this into a TypeScript playground and let's build this out further. So the way that you extract all the strings, by the way, or you extract ID and name. So let's say example equals, let's just build this out from scratch because this is fun too. The example here, we want to make a map type. So we're going to say K in key of obj, for instance. And then here, let's say we just say 1. Now this example, if we hover over it, it's just got ID, name, age, all 1. Pretty good. So, but we now want to restrict this, right? We want to say, okay, we actually we only want to grab the keys there that are assignable to this. How did I solve this before? I can't remember. How did I solve it? Oh yeah, I remember. But that's kind of the wrong way of thinking about it, right? Now what we're getting, if let's say we just say obj key here, right, or obj k. Now we're just actually recreating the object entirely itself. But what if we were to return something different, whether like object k is a string or not? So let's say extend string. And if it does extend string, we'll return a 1 or we'll return a 0, right? Kind of Boolean logic, or maybe true or false, let's say. So now if we hover over example, we've got ID true, name true, and age false. Okay, so how do we turn that into, let's say, a union of all of those keys? Well, let's say that we have an object key extend string. Let's actually just return K here like this. And now we've got ID, ID, name, name, and age never. And then instead of false, why don't we return never instead? And now we have ID, name, and never. So now what we can do is, if you notice that we have type example2 is ID or name or never. Let's imagine these were in like a union here. So what we could do is we'd actually just end up with ID and name then, because never removes itself from any union that it's a part of. Never by itself can live on its own, but it can't live with any other members here. So never is never, but as soon as it's placed with anything else, then it disappears. So what we need to do now is we need to basically just get the values of this object that we've created, ID, name, and never. So let's do that. way we do that is we use key of obj to index into it, into this example, which is basically like us going ID or age or name here, right? There we go. And now this just returns ID and name. Beautiful. Very, very nice. I'm not sure if that's actually even the solution that I showed, but it's a very lovely solution. You want to look at the quick to obvious code extension. Yes, this string will be saved. Ever use FPTS? I've not used FPTS, but I've heard it's very, very good. Does your work have a thermometer? UK is quite hot. It sort of was quite hot, and it's not really hot anymore. It's raining outside if you can't hear it, actually. So this example then is basically what's going on. But as you can see, this is pretty freaking magical here. So wouldn't it be nice if we could clean this up a little bit and make it more readable to people who stumble on this? So what we can do is we can actually wrap this in a type helper. Let's say we say type extract string keys, and we basically turn this into like a type function with this T here. And now this T, we can take all of this logic here and we can put this in. And now we have K in key of obj. Now we want to actually remove all references to obj and replace them with T. Well, let's actually call this T obj instead. T obj, there we go. Now this T obj then represents the object that we're passing in. Now this is basically a function, so we can call this. We can say example now is extract string keys obj here. And this example then is just ID and name. Beautiful, lovely, lovely, lovely. That's what we want. This is still though pretty hard to read, right? Because, I mean, we're using a pattern that I like to call an IMPT, an immediately indexed mapped type, right? This is a mapped type, and we immediately index into it. This pattern is super duper useful for when you're kind of like working with unions of any kind. And in fact, I've got an article on it, which I'll just sort of show on the screen briefly now. It's like an absolute banger, this pattern. It's so freaking useful. Yeah, here it is. So transform any union in TypeScript with the IMPT, and it basically looks like this. You have K in key of some object, and then you remap into it. So you turn this object into this key A, key B here. It's super, super good. And that's what we're doing here. So this is the map type, and then we're indexing into it. Font size increase? Absolutely. So used with your, can I add it to my types? Yeah, maybe in a minute. So yeah, in fact, why not? So this is the 2/ extension, by the way. This is not my extension. This is Auto the Rox's extension. So can we make this any simpler, right? If we have this this thing looks sort of fairly hard to read. You like the name? I'm glad you like the name, David. Actually, that means a lot. Yeah, why not value of T? Yeah, that's a really nice idea. So we could say type value of T, and inside here, what we can do is we can say T obj. No, not T obj, key of T. So this, we can now add a comment to this, and we can say gets the values of the object, right? Basically, object.values on the type level. Beautiful. So now, instead of doing this sort of like IMPT pattern, we can actually just extract this out by saying value of. So now value of this, or values of, maybe? I assume that's the one you're thinking of. Can we show examples after showing the concepts? Well, yeah, I'm glad it's handy. So now extract string keys does this, and example is still turning out the thing we wanted to. There's still this, which I would like to transform, I think. So, but although that's kind of like bespoke logic for the extract string keys thing, there's like, should you turn everything into type functions, or should you kind of put only some stuff in type functions and have other stuff that's just kind of bare? But this is the idea of this tip, is that by putting things in type functions, and even type functions that call other type functions, you're able to actually organize things in a way where it makes more sense to someone stumbling along this. Because this now you can see is object.values on the type level, but if you just look at this, you might think, what the crap is that doing? Then, if we take a look at this, we can say extract string keys. So this is gets all the keys where the values are strings. And what if we wanted to actually change this so that we had, instead of extract string keys, we could just have extract keys, right? Extract keys of type. So extract keys where values are of type. So here what we could do is we could say tObject, and then we can actually pass in tCondition. And tCondition would basically take this string here. So this string would be, instead of being string, it would actually be configurable by the person using it. So now extract string keys, we can simplify this again, and we can say extract keys where values are of type tObj string. And again, is our thing working? Of course it's working. This is very weird. Okay, so that's the basic idea, is that you can essentially take code which is really, really hard to read, and you can make it a little bit easier to read. Like some stuff here is still going to be like the map type stuff is still really nasty. Yeah, oh my God, how to read this. But like some of this stuff is still like fairly hard to read here. But if you think about this, this is a map type, and this is a conditional within that map type. And then you can sort of get to understand what is happening here based on all of these little compositions working together. I'm glad you guys are liking this. This is cool. All right, on to the next one. What is the next one? Where's my code gone? Array unions working in TypeScript 5.2. Oh, this is such a freaking boon, man. This is so good. So let's take a look at a TypeScript playground, actually, because that's going to help me sort of switch TypeScript versions and things like this. Sorry that this is a little bit manky, actually. I have this sort of hack with the TypeScript playground where I like to just delete this footer, basically, so that it looks a bit better on the stream. Header, LTR, yeah, here, div, top menu, delete. Perfect. Okay, so now this looks a bit better. Now we can see what's going on. So yeah, array union's working. So let's say we've got a func, and this func takes in two different types of things in a union. I can't believe that's defaulting to 4 space. It's terrible. Let's say fizz id string. I can't have that. Use spaces, please. There we go. Fizz number. And let's say interface buzz is the same, but with buzz instead. How's the audio of the keyboard, by the way? Is it sounding good? I don't know quite what the balance is going to be there. Fizz and buzz. Okay, and we've got our func. And our func, let's bump this back to, yeah, this is, oh, actually, I don't have access to 5.2 here. Oh, no, I've got access to nightly. That's fine. So what this does, ooh, this function takes array, and this R, in fact, is going to be fizz. In fact, it's going to be an array of fizz or buzz. Now this array fizz or buzz, we can do r dot, we have access to all of the usual stuff here. It's fine? Good, nice. So let's say we have r dot filter, and we want to, or r dot map, let's say. And this member of this array here is going to be either fizz or buzz, right? So expected. Not too bad. Keyboard sounds very nice. Ooh, good, good, good. I'm glad it sounds good. So this looks good. But what if we slightly change this so that instead of array fizz or buzz, it's actually array fizz or array buzz? What? What? What's happening? What's happening? Why should that be working? This shouldn't be working. Why isn't it working? Array fizz or array buzz? Maybe it's not map that's the issue, it's filter that's the issue. There we go. Let me refactor to where we were. So array map seems fine. But some array methods like this, like array.filter, basically don't work when you refactor them like this. So if I move this down here and just show you the other one, just for completeness, array fizz or buzz, down here works absolutely fine, but the one up here where it's array fizz or array buzz doesn't work. So the way that you had to do this is you had to basically sometimes you just receive the types in this way, right? You can either, sometimes you don't control what this function is inputting or what that type is. And so what you would get is you would just have to kind of like figure a way around this. There were sort of hacky ways around this where you would turn this function into like a generic function, but it's pretty, yeah, pretty horrible. Let's see if it works for find. Array.find, yeah, it doesn't work either. So, and you get this horrible error as well. It has signatures, but none of those signatures are compatible with each other. What are you talking about? What? TypeScript, what is this? Now, watch this. I should be able to click over to the nightly, and if they haven't screwed up the nightly somehow, then it's going to just take this code and it's going to work. It's going to work beautifully. You ready? Huzzah. It's now just working. Color of the switches are brown in my keyboard. So there we go. Wonderful. This is cracking. This is really good. This is coming out in 5.2, and the beta for 5.2 is has landed. So the RC should be coming soon, the release candidate, and then it's going to be pushed out. Any questions about this? Give us the name of your keyboard. It's the Keychron something. I don't know. I'm sure Keychron is whatever Keychron you want. It's going to be good. Yeah, pretty good, right, Captain? I react to errors the same as you. Yeah, take off your glass. This is the way you react to errors, all right? You got to react to them in a certain way, with a certain order. First, if you have glasses, you got to take them off. Then you got to push back in the chair. You got to comb back your hair, and then you've got to look out the window and contemplate your sad, worthless life. And then you realize what caused the error, and then you fix it. That's how it works. I know the name of that change? Yeah, let me show you the beta. TypeScript 5.2 beta. Cherry browns are the best. I literally don't know anything about keyboards. All I have is, I'm not even into this keyboard really. I just like the sound of it. It's very nice to use, but I don't know fucking anything about it. Where is it? Easier method usage for unions of arrays. Here we, oh, sorry, I'm not even showing you my thing. Yeah, this is it. This is great. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So string or number, and this just works now. Lovely. Argument are equivalent to those two functions. Sorry, Renato, not sure what you mean. Never mind, found it. How come? Not sure what you're asking. All those steps except the last one. Oh, like the fix, yeah. Well, fix is optional, actually. I'm very new to TypeScript. As a JavaScript developer, I found the TypeScript very hard. What suggestion would you give me to learn it quickly? Go to totaltypescript.com. TotalTypeScript.com, this is my effort to make TypeScript easy to learn for everyone. There's a bunch of free tutorials here. You should do the beginner's TypeScript one first, and then you should do the React with TypeScript if you use that. This, I think, is, I had someone actually this week say to me this was just a really, really nice tutorial to work with, that I have a very soothing voice, apparently, when I'm not ill. And that this will basically just take you from, decent JavaScript developer into someone who's ready to work with TypeScript professionally. And it's free, and it's as high quality as my other courses. My other courses are expensive, and they're for your, in fact, I can talk to this. They're for your employer to pay for, right? You get your employer to pay for your for this stuff. And because they're expensive, it means I can put a lot of work into the free stuff, and there's just tons and tons of tips here. This is stuff I've been working for like a year and a half. A load of articles as well that I just keep on writing, and blah, 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 blah. This is it. This is how you do it. Go on totaltypescript.com. I've got you. No worries. 5.2 doesn't change your intersection problem. Captain, post that, and I'll see what I can do. Ooh. You didn't know that TypeScript has that? Yeah, it's been there for ages. And they finally got around to fixing it. Let me change my head position a little bit so you can see the top of my great, beautiful skull. There we go. Lovely. Professional voice actor narrate these tutorials. Oh, I'm glad you like them. No, I used to be a voice coach, actually. So I was never a professional voice actor, but I used to be a voice teacher. All right. Will I do type challenges? Nah, I don't think so. I'm just not a fan of them, really. I don't think they teach you the right. I mean, they're really good, and people who do them come out at the end of them, or well, they mostly never reach the end because they're impossible. But they come out and they go, okay, I understand TypeScript on a much deeper level now, even if they never complete them, even if they hardly do any of them. I think that the work has gone into them is incredibly good, but I don't think they're the best way to, or the most efficient way even, to learn TypeScript. Right, you need to do that by actually working with application code, and type challenges is pretty much all about types, right? Turning types into other types, type transformations, which are important, but doesn't teach you about generics. Or at least functional generics or class generics, at least. I don't think so. It's been a while since I touched them. Anyway, rant over. I've already done the basic TypeScript, now I have problem paying money, don't have card. Okay, well, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there. Ask me any questions that you have, and keep plugging away. Like, there's loads of free stuff out there. You should join my Discord community as well, mattpocock.com/Discord, and we'll teach you stuff. Anyway, I've got stuff to do. Come on, guys, stop distracting me. All right. Extracting types of array members. So this, I think, where's my Figma? Oh no, I lost my Figma. This was from a couple of days ago. And this is just a really, really relatively simple trick, but I really like explaining it because it sort of unpicks how TypeScript works on a number of different ways. So let's say extract array member.ts. Oh yeah, I mean, type challenges are a blooming nightmare. So we have an array, let's say. We have type whatever equals, or let's say type user. What's the best way to do this? Oh yeah, I did this via, let's say we have const roles equals, oh, I don't have my GitHub Copilot on. Enable. That's not working for some reason. We've got user, we've got super admin, and we've got admin. And we're going to mark these as const. And I'm going to go into this a little bit later. But what this does is we end up with this being user, super admin, and admin here. We can change this into a type by saying type roles array equals type of roles. And now what we have when we hover over this is actually present in a type that we can then manipulate and do stuff with, which is good. So roles array now, we can say type user equals roles array 0. And so we can index into this and we get user is user. If I do user is 1 here, we get super admin. And then we get admin here if I choose to. So how would we go about creating a union out of all of these members? Well, we could do this. We could say roles array 0 or roles array 1 or roles array 2, right? This is fine. We're indexing into all of them. We're getting our union type back. That's great. But what we're not getting here is we're not getting, like, this is ugly as hell. If we add like another one here, let's say we add like an anonymous, then we don't have that in our user thing here because we want user to represent all of the, or rather roles, let's say. We want roles to represent all of the possible roles. How do we do that? Well, we could do like, there's another way to represent this, by the way, which is kind of fun. Let's say we have roles array 4 or 3. We can actually pass in a union into this little slot there. So we don't have to do this sort of roles array stuff. We can do 0 or 1 or 2 or 3. And when you pass a union into a kind of access slot, what happens is it distributes over all of the union and it turns itself into another union. So you get a union from a union. Very cool. But there's a danger here as well, which is if I remove anonymous, it's okay. But if I add super admin up there, then this is also not going to be added. So how do we basically say to roles array, okay, I want you to return anything from here that matches a number? Varying has got this. We say roles array number, and we pass in a number here. And now number basically goes through all of that and extracts out all of the members of roles array that correspond to a number. What? So cool. So if I remove anonymous and super admin, we're just left with our 3 thing here. This is present in just so many different places. It's so, so cool. And like, I've seen this trick just a bunch of times. And when I posted this, people have been saying, yeah, I could not find this trick anywhere, and I really wanted to know how to do it. And yeah, it's just beautiful that this works. And this is supported by TypeScript as well, and it's pretty intuitive when you understand all the steps. Questions about this? Keychron, God, since you guys are asking about it, I should probably know what it is. I think it's a Keychron Q3. Let me just check. Yeah, Keychron Q3 is what I've got. Mind blown. Yeah, isn't that cool? Roles arise 0. I mean, that's how indexed access types work in general too. So if you have, you know, a like a record of like a different object or a different object type, blah, 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 you can index into it with all of the different members of that, and it will just work beautifully. Let's see. Owen Wilson. Wow. Wow. I don't know. I can't do a good Owen Wilson. Is it possible with roles being an external JSON file? Let me check that, actually. That's a neat one. So let's say we've got roles, and let's put them in source roles.json. And let's take this, and we'll just stick them in here. So now we've got user, superadmin, and admin. So TypeScript is pretty good at this. It can say import roles from roles.json. Pretty sure I need to have resolve JSON module in my tsconfig. So let's do that. A resolve JSON module true. Now that's looking good. Our roles array is an array of strings. Yeah. So this doesn't work actually because really, it doesn't understand that it's supposed to be as const. That's the issue. You didn't miss as const, don't worry. As const is coming. So let's say we turn this back into like const roles is this. Without the as const here, this is just inferred as a string. And so when you have it in an external JSON file, TypeScript doesn't understand that it's supposed to be consted. So we can put as const here, and now it all works. But without this, roles array gets inferred as string, and then roles array number, we just extract string here because TypeScript isn't capturing any better information upstream, so it can't dive deeper into this. Not possible to narrow a JSON file. Open issue to import JSON as const. Yeah, would be nice, David. Absolutely. If you don't know, David is the guy behind Archetype, which is a really interesting library, and he's an absolutely fantastic TS wizard. Extremely useful. Super random, but am I standing? No, I'm just sitting up very straight. This is my dramatic background coming to the fore. I actually have decent posture for a coder. Beard looks great. Well, thank you. I think the camera is making it look pretty good. Can we reverse this union? So unions are unordered. Unions are not ordered. So we can take a look here and see that this roles here, if I as const it, it's capturing like user, superadmin, admin in that order. And then when we go down to roles here, we have user, superadmin, admin in that order. But this is an illusion, Michael, because it's not actually capturing it in that order. It's just basically putting it in a set, and an unordered set at that. So I'm not sure how I could screw this up. Can I do like, if I do this, will it screw up? Will the caching screw it? No, it won't. But there's various ways that you can sort of mess about with this, like turning it into a different intersection, passing it back in, and that sort of thing. First reverse array, then get the union type. Oh, man, nah, I don't think that would work. Video on using generic type within classes. Don't know if I do, actually. I think I do in my course. Yeah, I definitely do in Total TypeScript, though. Comparable to something like reflections. Not sure what you mean, sorry. Rightio. Let's go. How many are in here? Let's check this out. 186. Damn. Damn, guys. This is nuts. All right. What's next on my docket? Empty object type. Empty object type is so weird. So let's say type, let's say const x, and this x is going to be just an empty object. Or even like, let's say we just create an interface, and this interface empty is just this empty object. Now what we can do is we can say const x is empty, and we can pass an empty object to it. Great. But we can also do this. We can say x2 is empty, and we can pass it a string. You weren't expecting that, were you? You were not expecting that. x3, we can pass it a number. What else can we pass it, folks? We can put this in here. We can pass it a boolean. We can pass it false. What? So this empty interface here, it doesn't represent what you think it represents. It actually represents, you think it may represent any object, like I can only pass in an object into here, or at least any empty object. And really though, it actually represents anything that is not null or undefined. So I can pass in null here, but it's going to yell at me because type null is not assignable to type empty. Undefined, same deal. Undefined, not assignable to type empty. Lovely. This is so weird. But the reason this is you can think of this type here as, in fact, someone gave me a really good definition, but I just can't remember it right now. But it's basically anything that has 0 or more properties. 0 or more properties. Now, if you think of all of these things, they all have properties, right? This has 0 properties. There's no methods on here. This one has loads of properties, right? If you look at like dot whatever, it's got loads of stuff on it that you can do. It's got a kind of primitive value that's holding it all together, but it's got loads of properties on it. 1 to 3, 1 to 3, loads of properties on it. Oh wait, that ain't gonna work. Const yeah equals 1 to 3, and yeah dot whatever, loads of different methods. Even booleans, they have methods like to fixed and things like that. True dot value of, right? So yeah, what about nan? Yeah, let's try that. Pretty sure that's going to work. Yep. So this isn't even like, you can pass falsy values in here. It's not even about truthy versus falsy. It's all about whether you have whether it has any properties attached to it or 0 properties. So null has can never receive a property, right? You can never have a property on null. You can never have a property on undefined because nothing is there, right? It's super duper bizarre. Oh, did that work? 1 2 3 dot to fixed. 1 2 3 dot dot to fixed. Wow, that's cool. Thanks, James. No, it's not truthiness or falsiness, Nicola. It's weirder than that. So you can pass a 0 to this, all that stuff. I like to think of it as null and undefined being the only 2 values where trying to access a prop on them will actually throw in JavaScript. David coming in clutch there. Yeah, beautiful. So if we actually run some tests on here, in fact, let's go to the Chrome DevTools. 200 of you? 200 of you? Good God. Let's head over to here. And we're going to the console. Now, I'm going to need to do some switching around to make this work better. But you guys can see that, right? Clear. So, clear! Wow. So let's say we do this. Let's say we do const x equals this, right? Now, x dot, we can access some stuff on here. So we can say x dot foo, and this returns undefined. We can do x dot blah, 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 blah. We can try to access properties that don't exist. But what we can't do is, let's say we say let bad1 equals null. Now if we try to do bad1.x equals, or bad1. Whatever thing, it's going to yell at us because you cannot read properties of null. So what this represents, even if you do const y equals false or something like that, you pass it a falsy value, you can still access bad properties on that. David, you've blown my mind here, David. You've blown my mind, because that's exactly the mental model. This is exactly the mental model. David, you're a freaking champion, thanks. That's really good though, isn't it? So that's what this is then. We have strict mode in JS, so why use TS? Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Strict mode in JS won't make your IDE better. Like, TS is for your IDE. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, he's trolling. Ah, I see. Okay, let me sort that out. Yeah, let's put user in timeout. Oh, I've never done this before. That's fabulous. Okay. So yeah, that's the mental model you should have, is that this represents anything where if you try to access a property on it, it'll be okay. So we got empty here. Now, there's one kind of crazy thing that you should think about here. How would we represent every single type in TypeScript? Like any type whatsoever, and without using any, and without using unknown. How do we do that? So let's say type everything is assignable to me is. So yeah, in fact, I'll leave this one as an exercise for the reader. Where did I acquire such classy clothing? Fat face. I'll never become a wizard without strict mode on. I mean, TypeScript adds strict mode for you, but anyway. Type guard for Axios error. Not sure what you mean. I need a bit more code example for this. Arseni's got it. This is how you represent everything in TypeScript. This or null are undefined. So now let's try this. Const example. Everything is assignable to me. Now we can pass anything to it. So we can pass a string, pass a number, pass an object with properties, blah, 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 blah. Do everything we want, right? We can pass null to it, we can pass undefined to it. And this under the hood, by the way, is actually how unknown is handled. Unknown is this or null or undefined. Can we replace this with object? So yeah, good question. So sort of. Now I actually put this in my original tip, but I got a bit of a shellacking here because actually object is much more complex than we think. Object is kind of like a hook that TypeScript uses to say if you want to add any more global attributes onto the object thing, then it's not because I have a fat face, it's just the name of the thing, I think. Interface objects here is basically the place that you would globally append to, right? So it shouldn't ever be used, I don't think. I wish they had a setup for that where they could say, you know, like, do not use this or you'll be fired, right? And brown switches, not red switches. God, everyone loves keyboards so much, man. I freaking, like, keyboards are just so boring. Sorry about that for people who just love keyboards or their life depends on keyboards. But yeah, this is how essentially unknown is operating. And this does not represent what you think it is. It actually represents anything that will not throw an error if you try to access it on. Type of object. I'm going to move on. Right. What's next? Where are we? Okay. Returning never. Let's talk about the raise thing. I literally put this in this morning. How dare I? I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm just not a huge fan of keyboards. I guess. I mean, maybe I will get into it. I used to think I wouldn't be a fan of. I don't know. No, I've been pretty consistent, I think. No, anyway. Blue switches are the king. Objects is the basis of all prototypes. Yeah. Let me talk about raise. So. Let's imagine we create a little function. Const raise is a function that, let's just say it throws an error. And we're going to pass it an error, which is a string. And we're going to say throw new error, error. Now this, you will understand this, right? You'll understand this code. If I call this code, oh no, then my program ends, my browser crashes if I don't have any error handling further up the tree, and things are bad, right? So, and this function, if you hover over it, actually returns never. Huh. How can it return never? Well, it returns never because it never completes. This function will never return anything. And so it doesn't return void, it returns never. So I like to actually annotate this with returning never here. This makes it very obvious. So now what we can do is, let's say we have a const page here, and this page takes in some search params, right? So let's say it has some props and it has some params. Let's say record string, string. And let's say string or undefined, actually. So this is a pretty common thing here. Which is where you have some search params, you have some like whatever you're trying to get from the URL, and you're not quite sure if the user included them or not. And it's possible that the user just sort of like hacked their way in and didn't include them. So let's say we have this ID, which is the search param that we want, and we can say props.params.id. But ID here is string or undefined. So yeah, I would love to throw an error here, right, if this is undefined, because ideally we want this to be just a string, right? We don't want to deal with this undefined thing here. We could do this if we wanted to. We could add like an annotation here, but this is actually going to, I think this is very much, I think, an anti-pattern, because what's happening here is if we actually don't get an ID, in the JavaScript in the runtime, TypeScript isn't going to know about that, and so that's just going to kind of break stuff further down the line. So if you have some kind of contract here that you want to make sure that ID is being passed, you want to error early. So it would be ideal here if, in fact, we can do this, if we can say if not ID, throw new error, ID is required. This is good because now ID down here is going to be typed as string, because TypeScript understands that if it's undefined, then it hits this branch, which sort of throws never into the pile, and means that that version of ID is not going to work. So now, wouldn't it be nice if we could do this though? If we could say, let's say ID, and let's say we do a nullish coalescing here. Wouldn't it be great if we could throw the error just here? ID is required. Well, we can't, unfortunately. There is a proposal to add this in JavaScript, and I think this would be really, really nice. It's at stage 2 right now. But the way I like to do it, or the way I think you should be doing it, is with this raise function. Because this raise now, what you can see is it basically says props.params.id, blah, 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 or nullish coalescing operator, raise ID is required. This is so easy and nice to read. What if it's an empty string? With a nullish coalescing operator, it will actually just roll through, right? So the empty string will be passed to here, like in C#, exactly. Yeah, it's a VS Code extension. I've actually got a video on this thing, which is the whole video is about people on stream asking me about the VS Code extension. Is this new? Thought this wasn't the case, not sure what you're meaning. So this is really nice because it puts that logic down into one line. It means that you're throwing this in the correct branch. And this was Maple Leaf on Twitter who introduced me to this, and I really, really like it. You can even, let's say you don't want to raise, right? Let's say you just want to like const redirect, and let's say URL, and make that a string, and we return never. And then in here we can go like window.location .ref or whatever. Like I've actually seen this redirect in Next.js's code. So in the app directory, it uses this. Oh, he means raise. Is this new? I mean, this raise function is new. I just put it there. Type resolution after if branching. No, not particularly new. This is. I'm not sure when they introduced this. It's a pretty fundamental part of TypeScript. Let's see, use this with not found and redirect. Yes, exactly. So it's returning never from those situations, and it's so nice because it means that you can do something like, let's imagine I just return as never for now, and let's say I've got like a const, yeah, inside here. Let's say we redirect, and now we can redirect to here, and so nice, right? It's just beautiful. It means that you've, like, the logic is just super clear, all fits in one line, and it's lovely. So this is nice. Very nice. Any questions on this? VS Code 2/queries is what it's called. Let's see, here it is. Lovely. Nice, up to 22K. It was at 3K when I first made a video about it, actually, and I called the whole video, this VS Code extension is so unused, but now it's actually getting used, which is great. Yeah, type guard, I mean, actually I think I prefer this to type guards because it's, type guards can get a bit slushy with the way that they, a little bit unsafe. Type guards are still cool, but I think I prefer this setup if I do have a choice, but usually you don't. Usually it's either type guards or this. Can you guys hear the rain? It's really nice here. Just installed. Lovely. Common use case. Nice. How are we doing, friends? 225. 225. Ridiculous. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. I've got a few more of these, and then I'm going to call it a day. Because as you can hear, my voice is starting to go. Ooh! HTMX. I have no thoughts about HTMX. I have no idea what it is. Okay, let's go. So, next one is loose autocomplete. Loose autocomplete is so nuts. So I'm going to give this one to you guys to see if you can figure this out. Let's say I want to make an icon, right? And this icon, or let's say we got some icons, right? So type icon is we can either have application or settings or user or trash or whatever, you know, like your standard kind of application icons. And let's say we have some props, right? So type icon props equals let's say icon, and then you pass in the icon that you want. And so let's say we have our icon down here, and this, let's actually rename this to icon type, just so it's distinguishable from there. How does the rain sound, by the way? You guys can probably hear it. I want to know if it's like loud, or if it's like ASMR loud, you know? Because I don't mind a bit of rain in the background of my videos, right? I'm in this type and I don't like it. We've got props here, and we've got icon props. And let's say return null. I am a Mac user, yeah. So now I might just need to fiddle with some tsconfig settings quickly. I'm just going to go JSX, preserve, and I think that's all I need. And change this to a TSX file. And now what I can do, you don't hear the rain at all? No. It's like ASMR. Yeah, good. Ah, it's beautiful. You have to really have to try to barely hear it. It's a cool setup, man. I might show you my setup in a minute. It's really nice. ASMR loud. Ooh, cool. Cool. Lovely. Okay, so let's say I now put this down here, and I've got my icon. Now, when I pass in this icon here, it's going to obviously error, because if I don't pass in application settings, trash, or user, right, it's not going to like it. But what if I wanted to say, okay, you can either pass in an icon type here, or you can pass in any string. Okay? Now, you can either pass in an icon type or pass in any string. This is good. It means I can pass in any string into here, but I don't get my autocomplete anymore. No, I want my autocomplete because I want to be able to see what options I have before I put something in. So what's the solution here? Is there even a solution? How on earth would you get around this? Let's see who knows this in the comments. Relax, power nap with rain sounds. Audio is great in general. Good. That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. Oh, so, man, I'm some distance away from my house, actually, and so actually getting back is going to be a bit of a pain. But how do I solve this, guys? How do I solve this? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Ball. Yeah, what is ball? It's probably some snippet that I have. Oh, yeah. Exclude, extends, no, unfortunately not. It's super weird. Icon type as const, no. Can't do as const on a type, as const is only for values. Do you want me to show you? This is the solution. No, not a union or extend. You wrap this and you say, and empty object. Let me just figure out prettier print width so you can actually see that. No, still can't see it. Ah, come on. I'll add another one. Or rain, or this. Come on. There we go. This works. Yes, alright, got it. Alright, got it. Must be string and this. Yes, you guys have it. Yeah. This is so weird. So weird. So this icon type now, it has all of these members in. But now, because we've added this little and empty object to the string here, we now get autocomplete on all of these things. I don't know why TypeScript does this. There has been various sort of like suggestions this week. So without that, it does this weird thing. But with it, it's just lets it do it. Leonardo? Oh, sorry, Leonardo. I didn't catch it. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, David. Who knows? I mean, so my theory as to why this works. If we don't have this, then TypeScript eagerly collapses the union of all of these members. And then if you hover over icon type, you actually just end up with string. If you add a little bit of computation, a little more action, please, you end up with this as the hover. I'm wondering if this will work. So string extends string, string, string. Will this work? No. Never. No, that won't work either. So this seems to be the only thing that works. Doesn't seem to collapse because of this extra bit of computation it has to do between this. So what you end up with is by the time you get down to this icon thing here, is it understands that there are various options as well as the string. Yeah, you can put prettyconf in package.json. This is a really nice tip, actually. This is even used in places like the React types. More specialized than string. It's actually the same type as string, right? If you think we covered the empty object type earlier, string is already something that you can access properties on, and this represents anything that you can get properties on. It's, yes, curious and curiouser. This is really, really strange one. Epic typing skills or immediate reflex knowledge on how to configure it prettier. Yeah. Thanks, Rene. Yeah, been down this road before. Bracket, same line, blah, 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 blah. How does TS do it? I don't know, man. Don't know how the TS team does it. All right, next one. String extend. Yeah, I was just messing about. I was seeing if a string extends any string never. I was seeing if this sort of level of computation would cause it to not collapse the union, but it seems that it just computes it and figures it out. Whereas this, it doesn't collapse the union, so you still retain this. Okay. Same computation applies when applying private fields to classes, it kicks TS out of structural typing. I see what you mean. Can we put something in here? Not really. Well, I think you can do this. So let's say you have a whatever. Because it's optional, this will work, and so you can pass anything here. But if it's not optional, then you're actually creating actually a new type here, which is not good. Because it means now that we can only pass in the strings, or we pass in this kind of impossible type there. I really want to get a drink of water, but it's raining, guys. I'm in my garden office right now. Yeah. It's really raining quite hard. I don't think I can get my wife to actually come out here and bring me a drink of water, but I'm out. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to blast through to the end of this, and we're going to take a couple of looks at some really cool stuff. In fact, you know what? Because I'm flagging, because I'm ill. I'm sorry about being ill. You know, how many of us are here? 242. Crazy, crazy stuff. We're going to look at the most popular feature that I've tweeted about, that I've posted on YouTube in the past, whatever. Drink the rain. It does have to be an and empty object, unfortunately. For me, for you, it's not raining. Good for you, Yosef. Good for you. Right. The most popular thing I've tweeted about. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's about using. So using is a new TypeScript feature coming to TypeScript 5.2. Loose autocomplete, type argument placeholders, tuple indexes, disco unions. Where is it, man? Where is it? No, where is it? Yeah, this is where I am right now. This is the office, the shed quarters. It's cool, eh? TypeScript. Yeah, here it is. Well, sort of it. Using. This got a lot of likes, a lot of attention. A lot of people loved it on YouTube as well. My video that's like that has it in is going crazy as well. So it's got almost 10% CTR. It's got 83.1k like views in. It's really crazy, really crazy. I mean, we did lose to Australia, and it's actually the first year that I've cared about it. Yeah, using is so cool. So let me take a look at TypeScript Playground and I can show you. I'm actually really keen to see how they've implemented it in the beta. So let me just delete this annoying little header there. Form, top menu, delete, good. Okay, so the way using works is, let me go on the nightly version. So I've actually got access to it. It's a new keyword that might be coming to JavaScript, but probably is, right? Oh, for God's sake, this is bloody back. I need actually a VS Code extension to move this down here. It's sort of similar to the defer keyword in Go. Yeah, sort of is. Huh? This is Gatsby? Wow, that's fun. Did not know that. So the way it works, let's say you have const get resource, and this resource is going to return a, let's say it's a database, right? On this database, you can get one user, which just returns, you know, ID 1, let's say. And I'm going to add my format on save in as well. Format on save, enable format on save, save it, good. Okay. So this get resource now. We have our DB there, and we probably need to have a close method as well, which would like close the database, you know? So when we go to use this, let's say it's async actually, and get one user is async as well, and this is probably an async method too. What we would have to do is we would have to say const resource or equals get resource, and this would be a wait get resource. Const main, I'll wrap this in a main thing here so we have access to async awaits. Async const resource equals await get resource. Now this resource has access to the DB, which is good. Resource.db. But at the end of this method, whenever I'm sort of finished with this, I would have to call resource.db.close. Right? So no matter if this fails, so let's say I have like a get user, const user equals resource.db.get one user, and this would be an await. And now this user is an ID number. Great. So that's working good. But what if this fails somehow? We're going to have to close this no matter what happens. So we could put this in a try catch. So we just say try catch. God, I'm so useless without Copilot, you know. So put it in a try catch. And we want to close this no matter which branch we're on. So in this branch, we want to close it. On this branch, we want to close it. So we got our try, we got our catch. But we can clean this up a little bit by using a finally if we want to. So we can say await resource.db.close. Lovely. So let's say we console .error here. Now, this is fine. But this logic here of this try catch finally, that's going to haunt us through the whole setup, right? Like every time we call get resource, we're going to have this logic outside of the function where we initialize the resource. So in this scope, in order to basically make sure that we close it properly. Otherwise, we're going to get a whole load of database connections, and it's going to be bad. So, what's the solution here? Well, the solution is super wild. So, let's say we can have a symbol.async_dispose on here. And is this working? Oh no, have they not implemented it? What's on here? No! This is in the beta. Huh? Oh, is it not on here? I'm very confused. I'm very confused. Are you guys talking about keyboards again, for God's sake? I don't care about keyboards. I will never care about keyboards. This is crazy. You guys just love keyboards so much. TypeScript 5.2 beta. Why is using not working? Oh, maybe I need to. So using. Let's check this out. So yeah, this is the idea, right? Like, you have a using keyword here, and it should just work. Symbol.dispose. Symbol.async_dispose. Oh, maybe I need to have it. Huh. ESNext or ESNext disposable. Okay, I can do that. So you might not know this, but you can actually change the config here somehow. Wait, how can you do that? TSConfig. Target, yes, I've got the wrong target on. So target should be ESNext. Lib should pick up from that. And now we get async dispose. So async dispose then is basically going to be an automatic disposal function, which we can kind of call here. And what we're going to do here is we can actually do this.db. No, we can't do that. We can actually close the database inside here, and we no longer manually need to expose this resource.close. So let's call this async. And now, instead of having all of this logic here, we can actually, I'll just pull this down to here, so we've got a bit more. We can actually do using resource equals await get resource. Now here we go. The initializer, I'm really excited about this. So this is, I had a lot of questions here about what TypeScript would do in sort of helping you here. So the initializer of a using declaration must either be an object with a symbol.dispose method or be null or undefined. Okay, I don't understand that, but it's basically telling me you need a async or .dispose there, but we've got a .async dispose. So how do we handle that? We would say await using resource equals get resource. Yeah, and if we didn't have that, so let me just comment this out. This would yell at us. Yeah, I'll show you the JavaScript output in a minute, actually. That's a really good one. Yeah, it's got to have an async dispose. Lovely. So it tells you if you're using correctly. Lovely. Oh, I'm going to have to, that's a really good one. Let me actually add item to written content. Sorry, this is how I keep notes of the stuff I want to like make content about, and I have to do it as immediately as it comes into my head. So this one was how TypeScript handles using and await using. You might see that come up later in my Twitter feed. So now we no longer need to do this try catch finally stuff. If we get a catch, we can actually have the catch inside here if we want to. So let's say we keep the catch, we no longer need to have this finally thing, because async dispose will be called, sorry, not in this one, in this one. Async dispose will be called when the resource leaves scope. When this part of the function completes, when main2 completes, resource will be disposed of by awaiting calling symbol.async dispose. So cool. First time on live stream? Nice. Let's take a look at the JavaScript output. Let's see it. Oh yeah, so this is on next. So let me tweak the tsconfig a bit. So if I change this to ES22, it's not going to work. But if I add some stuff to lib, Where is lib here? Oh, maybe it's not going to let me do that. No lib. I think I can't show you it unless I set it all up locally. So I might do a video on that, but I don't think I can do it here. But what about errors? Yeah, so if this errors, what happens? I actually don't have a good answer for this. Let me dive into the TC39 proposal so that I can show you it. Yeah, let's take a look. So yeah, this is the proposal. Errors. Oh God, I don't know if I can. Will it be part of JS? So currently it's in stage 3, which means it's probably coming to JavaScript. Stage 3 of a proposal in TC39 means that they're looking for outside feedback on it before they say, yes, this is going to be a part of JavaScript. So this could bounce back to stage 2, you know, if they find, there's this terrible problem wrong with it. But probably it's coming to JavaScript. Can you dispose early? Yeah, you can, if you want to. I actually don't know how I can answer that errors question, so I'm not going to try. I need a bit more research before I can figure that out. I hope that's okay. Where am I? Yeah. So I can close early if I want to. I can just wrap this in a scope, and now resource is just within a new scope. You know. So now anything after that function, it won't have resource available to it. Beautiful. Just works. Maybe they haven't. No, they have. The PR's gone in. It's all good. Try with resources in Java. I don't know Java very well. I have used it, but I don't know try with resources. But yes, basically. Is there a using block like in C#? This basically represents your using block. So format on save. Oh, of course I can't format on save because I'm using. There we go. So yeah, this is, or rather, this is the block. Any more using questions? Any more using questions? Yeah, just use a block, exactly. Right, we're up to 206 viewers. Function can be indexed into later using the symbol again. Yeah, that's true. That's true, although if you call it twice, is that a bit dodgy? I think a block is cleaner. Right. That was fun, guys. As you can hear, my voice is not good. So I'm going to finish here. Thank you, glorious people, for sticking around. And welcome to the new Shoffice environment. Hope the audio was good. I literally have a boom mic just here. Just there. Just out of shot. It's all sort of hanging over like this. I've got a light coming from this way. I've got this sort of decoy light behind me. I'm going to put some like pictures up here as well, just so it all looks nice. My wife's a photographer, or like a keen amateur photographer, and she's been doing it for years and years and years. So she's got all of these beautiful photos of places that we've been and, you know, things that we like. So we're going to put those up kind of all along this beautiful room. I need to find some way of getting back to my blooming house because I'm probably about, don't know, 10, 15 meters away? No, it's like 4 p.m. here. I'm in the UK. Really? Oh, really? Audio's amazing. Thanks, Renee. That's very nice. Show and tell time. Epic stream, glad you liked it. Hello from Ukraine. I read a book about the Ukrainian-Russian war. I've been following it very closely. Awful what's happening over there. Absolutely awful. Do I know if it's assignable to a different variable? Will scope change? Well, scopes are like a tree, right? So if you have it in a parent scope, then it'll be available in all child scopes. Have a nice rest. Thank you. Thank you. You did miss the stream. Sorry, man. With lots of keyboards. I mean, okay, let me just briefly talk about keyboards because I don't hate keyboards. My life has improved somewhat since I upgraded from my crappy keyboard over here to a Keychron Q3. Somewhat. I'm scared for my wrists a little bit. I used to teach singing and piano, so I've always had a sort of thing about my fingers. I don't want my fingers to get fucked up or like my wrist to get strained because I used to use them all the time for teaching piano, well, teaching singing via playing piano. So yeah, I have like a custom wrist support here that my wife made. Yeah, Ukraine, UK loves Ukraine as well. More content about tool chains. I don't think I do want to look at your intersection problem. I'm sorry. Really great audio. Oh, good. The second father of TypeScript. I don't think I'm even related to TypeScript, actually. Awesome. Glad you like it. All right, friends. Wait. Tool chains and more video content about tool chains and everything around TS. You mean like publishing libraries or things like this, or CI? Or I do love CI. I love monorepos. I used to be a dev rel at Vercel, talking about turbo repos, so I love all that monorepo stuff. All right, we're finishing up at 189 concurrent viewers. Oh yeah. We should co-stream the TS documentary. Actually, I really enjoyed being a part of that. The guy who filmed us, Stefan, and his friend Guillermo, his colleague Guillermo, they were super duper nice, and they're football fans as well. So, anyway, love you guys. Thanks so much for the stream, and I will see you